Upon watching the grounded, serious and realistic depiction of the world presented in The Last of Us, a few questions regarding the functionality of Jackson popped into mind. First off, housing. Joel is shown leading the construction of a house while he is fixing circuit breakers. This is good because prior to the apocalypse, he was in construction and is contributing to Jackson in a way he excels in. The issue arises when he updates Marie. Based on the manpower and resources at their disposal, it would take till the summer to build enough houses for the people in the town. She, however, needs it done by spring. And Joel has an appropriately humorous retort. Her argument is that more people are coming in to take refuge, an altruistic mindset to have in a time when it is far easier to be cutthroat. However, Joel counters by informing her that if they are unable to sustain themselves, they are of no use to anyone. This brings into question how much resources they have. How much building material do they have? How much food do they have in reserve for the winter? If they continually let people in, the food stores go down, meaning there is less to go around, creating a scenario similar to the cannibals in the prior season. Furthermore, how many of them would truly be a benefit to the town? People are people, and there will be some who are incredibly helpful, and others who will take the piss. We have all done group work in school, there's always one. Finally, how much space is available in Jackson? How do they expand their borders? These are massive logistical issues that need significant manpower to accomplish, particularly when they are needing expansion on the scale Marie is looking for. Unfortunately, the conversation does not go beyond this surface-level acknowledgement of their perspectives, yet the show seems to have picked a side, because Marie ends by attempting to emotionally manipulate Joel by reminding him he himself is a refugee. She could have used a logical argument such as, having more people means having more hands on deck to help speed things up, to which Joel could bring up the resources and the trust that needs to be built, so on and so forth. But no. Instead, it highlights her own inadequacy as a leader as she is unable to compete through her ideas. Next is the issue of patrol. Ellie is immune to the infection, a closely guarded secret by a handful of individuals to protect her from those who might want to exploit her. As such, having her shout it out loud shows a profound lack of respect for her situation and the safety of those trying to protect her. All the more so because in the next scene, Jackson is shown to have an influx of people, meaning there is a possibility people may be nearby, and for her to do something so reckless would naturally place her, regardless of her ability, as a risk on patrol. This sentiment is reinforced when she goes on a recon mission alongside Dina and 3 others, seeing what is out there so they can report back and have a squad prepared to go out and fight the threat head on. During the mission briefing, neither Ellie nor Dina take things seriously, mocking the procedure and Jesse in the process. Humor in a tense moment is fine, but if it supersedes the seriousness of the situation the characters are in, within the context of a grounded and realistic take on the genre, it is an issue, emphasized by the lack of care they have for their 3 companions when exploring the supermarket, disregarding the threat, ignoring the chain of command, putting themselves and their team in danger when the orders were to return in such a situation, and treating everything with the same level of seriousness as a field trip to the zoo. It's as if Ellie and Dina know they have plot armor. There is a case to be made about the central characters of a story naturally having plot armor. The issue is that while from a meta sense the audience understands that, the characters should not. It creates a dissonance between the world they are in and the threat they are exposed to, meaning, intentional or not, the impact of the infected is reduced to a minor annoyance when this is the same infection that brought humanity to its knees. In short, neither Ellie nor Dina should be on patrol. Working the land, construction, animal husbandry, manning the wall, no problem, as long as it is within the wall. With the lack of respect they have for such a responsibility, they should not be allowed to go on patrol for not only their safety, but also for the safety of those who go on patrol with them. Thankfully, there is a consequence. Ellie gets bitten. Again, exposing yet another issue on how Jackson is run. How do they screen the people that enter the town? In fact, do they? Ellie was bitten, and again, while we as the audience understand she is immune, the town does not. So how did she sneak the bite through without anyone noticing? This is possible. If the security manning the gates do not check the people coming into Jackson for bites and scratches, meaning Jackson is a massive infection risk just waiting to happen, further eroding the realism the show is trying to put forward with its gritty presentation. To illustrate the point, let's look at a little anime called Cabaneri of the Iron Fortress. Japan is infested with zombies and people live in walled-off cities, traveling on heavily armored trains that are attacked regularly by the infected. In the first half of the opening episode, we are shown such an attack, and how new arrivals are treated when they enter a city. They are all stripped within the train and inspected thoroughly to see if there is even a scratch on the passengers for fear of infection spreading. So great is this fear and the consequences for hiding infection that a passenger panics and runs away upon the guards finding a scratch, and in this high-stress moment is shot to death, only to find he was indeed not infected. It was just a scratch. The threat posed by the world and the severity of the infection is treated seriously by the creators of the show and the characters within behaving accordingly. It may not be fair to compare The Last of Us, a grounded, gritty, dark and somewhat realistic take on the genre, to an anime where steampunk trains travel Japan while half-human, half-zombie superpowered monster fighters take down giant zombie blobs with the power of friendship. No. This is a level of security enforced by Fedra in Season 1 of The Last of Us. One of the first things we see post the apocalypse is a young infected boy being killed to protect the lives of those within the walls. A wonderful portrayal of the grim actions that need to be taken to live with some sense of security in this world. Brutal, but necessary, yet completely forgotten or ignored here for the sake of narrative convenience. Either that or Jackson is run on the power of love, goodness and positive thinking, which makes the steampunk zombie anime far more realistic in comparison.